have a long history of cannabis advocacy, and I wanted to get your thoughts on FDM's approach to the cannabis regulatory framework that's being presented now, and how it's either good or bad, and how FDM would present it differently or similar.
Well, the legislation that's being proposed is, it's just more the same. It's the type of stuff that, that breeds, well, it reeks of, corruption, to be honest with you. And it breeds, right, unrest in the community because you got a situation where, you know, you've had people who have been victimized, right, locked up, fined, had the travel rights, right, restricted for decades, right? And then you want to turn around now that the world is coming to see the value of marijuana. I mean, just look at the Rasta community, So coming up Rasta is like you're just victimized. You're made to look like a fool. Who are these idiots like talking about marijuana and this and that and this and that and it causes these problems, is this and that, and on and on and on, and people are locked up and all of that. You can't grow it in your own yard, you can't use it personal use. Okay, cool. You're victimized. Now you wanna enact legislation that lets the same people, right, who shun marijuana benefit from the profits of it. So the same capitalists, right, who were just totally against it, all of a sudden now they're for it. It's hypocrisy, right? And it reeks of corruption because, right, if you're fair and just, first of all, you would apologize to people, right? The Rasta community in particular, you would apologize for, right? And then you have to make sure that the people that have been, right, standing for that all their lives are actually able to participate in dealing with it going forward. It's going to be unrest. It's just going to be unrest, man, because people are not stupid, right? And people are just going to shut it down and see this is the stuff, like this is the disconnect. So you wonder, you say, okay, so somebody's got to actually tell you that, like that doesn't come to mind automatically. Now it goes back to what we were talking about before. You're so caught up thinking about how you can deal with it with your friends and family so you could line your own pockets from your policies, right? That you overlook the simplest and most obvious things. And you come across as being disrespectful, which you are, because you're not taking time to consider people, the people who you actually represent. You know what I mean? Now, Corey, right? If the government was white, it would almost be somewhat understandable. But the government's not white. They don't even have that excuse. What excuse do you have? You can't say you don't really understand. And if you don't understand, then that's an indictment against you. What you mean you don't understand? You're in people. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? No. So that's where the challenge lies, right? They're going to try to hand this thing over to a select few. No, 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 no. We're going to have a totally different approach, right? Yes, you need some form of regulation. Yes, you need quality control, which we'll all put in place, right? And yes, you need to make sure that the average person who wants to grow cannabis and have it for their own personal use has access to be able to get a license to do so. And you put a simple procedure in place where, say, you grow cannabis in your yard, you then take that cannabis to a testing facility that then runs the necessary tests that make sure that the quality is of a certain standard. You know what I mean? They can test it, look at, right, the THC levels and all that type of stuff. They can do all the ratings. And then you have licensed sellers that you can then take the product to be sold. You know what I mean? But it should be accessible. It shouldn't be like thousands of dollars, to be able to get a license. It should be easy. It should be like 50 to maybe 100 and some dollars or something like that. That just makes it easy for the everyday person to just be able to do the thing. And the thing is this, right? What we have to do is trying to stop trying to regulate control, right? Competition creates control. The reality is, right, Corey, everybody doesn't know how to grow marijuana. And everybody's not going to take the time required to learn how to do it properly. So you know what's going to happen? I'm going to try to grow it, right? And I'm going to come over your house and I'm going to say, well, geez, Corey, this is nice. Why mine's is not like that? And then you're going to say, well, yeah, I do this, I do that, I do this. I'm going to say, wow. And then I'm going to say, you know what? I'm just going to get mine from Corey. I'm not worried about all that no more. Yeah, Corey's got this done. Why wasting time doing? I'm going to just get it from Corey. And then the market is just going to sort itself out. So the people who's willing to invest time, this is business, right? Isn't it business? It's ABC in business. You don't have to regulate control. The market will dictate that. You know what I mean?
Do you think there is an actual economy surrounding around cannabis in
Oh,
one way,
huge.
Either through medical or
huge,
or
medical and recreational,
through commercial growth? Do you think there's any market around it?
Huge market around it, and all you have to do.
How do you see?
Well, first of all, once you free it up once it's freed up and it's already started, to free it up from a medical perspective, that's creating a whole new industry, in itself. And then recreational marijuana will create a whole new industry in itself, whereas you have new businesses popping up where again, and they will determine the strong would reveal themselves, meaning the people who are able to make the muffins and the cakes and the cookies and the drinks and the this and the foods and all of that type of stuff. The coffee shops would open up, you know what I mean, where people were able to come in and relax and sit off. Tourism will go to a level because all of a sudden Bermuda will be appealing to a totally different, right, tourist base. You know what I mean? And these people who come here because they're able to use marijuana within the community, right, in a controlled way, right, would also spend the money doing other things. So it's a lot of things that can come from it. Even when we start talking about, when we look at the green economy, we look at renewable energy and we look at cannabis and the environment. So as we become more environmentally conscientious, as we become more green as a country, we become attractive to people around the world who have that mindset. All of a sudden, they want to come to Bermuda because we have electric vehicles and we generate our energy from renewable energy and it's clean air and pure water, and it's relaxing. There's no stress here. People are very friendly, all of that. It supports our tourism product. You know what I mean? We get more tourists here. Now the entertainment and the arts, it goes more on a level. You have more of an audience. All these things are connected. One thing feeds into the next, but it's huge. And the positive thing is that we're not fresh out of the blocks. So we have the opportunity to study what's happening in other jurisdictions, to understand what's working and what's not working. Learn from other people's experiences and implement things. We don't have all the answers, and again, it's just a matter of like the community will bring forth a lot of the answers. You know what I mean? We just understand that we need to put a framework in place that embraces the community in a way that allows us to maximize the benefit from the industry.